y'all? It's your boy J.H. Gibbons here.
I'm Will C.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Achromous podcast. If you are listening, that means you are on Spotify, you are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Wherever y'all are listening, we're in your ears right now. We're thankful to be there on this Sunday. If you are watching us, our beautiful faces, our growing beards, our Achromous gear, here's what you need to do. In case you haven't done so already, I need you to hit that like button on YouTube. I need you to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I need you to hit that notification bell on YouTube. The reason why you're going to do that is because of this. The next time you hop on YouTube and you go through that feed, you just keep scrolling for some of the best gems that they have online, some of the best gems that you can find anywhere on this planet. You will find the Achromous podcast. That will be the first video that you see. And it'll probably be episode 75. And the best thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, most of all,
well, we've given 74 different ways of putting it and saying it. So it's the 75th version of giving it to you, that it is free to do so. One of the few and far in between things that's out here that you can do free of liberty of your choice right now, that's not taken from you. And you're not being charged for it at this point. So please make sure to like, subscribe. If you enjoy our content, you enjoy these gems that we're dropping, and you've been a part of this each and every single week, because we've been consistent each and every single week and dropping these gems for you. Show us some love, man. Show us that appreciation. Subscribe, man. So when we dropping it, you're first to get it. And then do us even one favor, a bigger favor than that. Like, go ahead and share that information, because everyone needs to learn a little something here and there, right? So help educate someone else. Each one teach one. Pass us along, man. This is all we're asking you to do. Not much. And if you're new here, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you do, we got 74 more. So go back and then catch up. And we're going to be here to keep doing our thing each and every week.
Each and every week, we'll see. I got to take a pause. 74 episodes up until this point, now that we're on our 75th. Just think about all the times that we thought that this would be a possibility, but we could not see it, right? Just think about it. We are 3/4 the way through from zero. We are a quarter away from 100 episodes. Of course, episode 100 is going to be lit. I don't even know what the topic is going to be. So we still got some weeks to get there, but I mean, we got to do it big, right? It's only the Achromous way. So we will do it big. We thank you all for joining us once again this Sunday. If this is your first time, welcome, sit back, relax. We're going to take you on a journey today. If you have been here before, welcome back. We hope that you continue to take these gems that we're talking about, because that is the most important thing. Like, we're not saying this for our health, right? We're saying this to help you improve. We're saying this because we've been through the things that we talk about. We have that experience. We have it. We might be young, but we've been through so much in our lives, and we only want to see you grow. That's the only reason why we do this. That's why we give you those action items, because each and every week you are supposed to take that action during the week. And last week is no different. What a week it has been, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, if you watched episode 74, you would have seen what God had to put in the hands and the mind of this man, Niamu. My God, talk about the raw talent. If you did not get a chance to see that episode, specifically the kicks that this man freaked out, wow, it is absolutely, I can't say enough. I was telling Will C before we hit this record button that I got to buy some Air Forces just so this man can freak them things out, man, because it is absolutely amazing. It was a pleasure having him on. It was great to hear his story, especially coming from the father. I know, Will C, you are a father as well, and last weekend was Father's Day. So it was a blessing to have him on, to have him share his story, share his journey, and whatever he has coming up next. We're thankful to be able to share that with him. We'll see. I mean, what is your take on that episode, man? I know I was able to meet Niamu from you. I'm thankful I got to do that, and it's great that he is now a part of the Achromous community, man.
Oh yeah, Niamu is just an awesome person, wonderful soul, man. So knowing that, like, we were fortunate enough to have the opportunity to have that world intertwined and have him become a part of the Achromous community, as well as becoming a part of the raw talent and what he has to offer, is a dope and an awesome opportunity. Yeah, it was so many gems that was dropped. I went back and I watched the episode twice, actually, because it was so much to just take in and dissect. You know, it was like going to one of those open buffets, and I was trying to not allow myself to get too full, you know. So I kept going back in for extra. So I had to kind of take a little piece of this, really process it, and just kind of, you know, apply what was being said to what's going on in my life, even in a short amount of time and a week's time span, to be able to really take notes and, you know, and self-development, because guys, this is a lot of what we talk about here. And it was an awesome opportunity to get another refreshing perspective from another awesome guest that we had on. And yeah, especially to see the passion, to see visually what this person is doing and is just able to manifest into reality. It was just a dope experience. And yeah, if you haven't had a chance to go watch episode 74, please go back and check it out, because you really will be in for a treat. It was a really special one. And yeah, we you know, at some point we'll have you back on, Yama. We'll have you back on at some point, brother. But as it stood, it was an awesome experience. And I too am looking to cop some Air Force Ones and have Yamo do his thing, man. So be looking out for myself, Jay, because you know what we coming your way, brother.
We definitely are, man. And look, I don't even know if I'm gonna wear the Air Forces, to be honest, because when this man puts his blessings on my shoes, I don't think I want to wear it out. You know what I'm saying? I might just hang it up in my closet or put it behind this like glass enclosed case that I create just to look at it every morning, because I can't. I mean, the way he does them shoes, you just don't want to go outside with them. I'll probably take a picture with them, but that's it. Them things aren't going to get creased. They're not going to be worn out, man. It's going to be a collector's item, man, because that is phenomenal talent that he has, and that just goes to show you, man. The guests that we end up having on here are extraordinary, and we're thankful. We're so thankful to be able to have them all on. And Niamu was just the latest guest that we had. So we thank you again, Niamu, for coming on, for being here. Because that's, I mean, God, looking back on it now, I would say that I would have regretted not having the opportunity to talk to him, not having the opportunity to speak with him, to be able to see his talent, to be able to make that connection. I mean, just think about it, Will C. If you took a different path in life, if you didn't go to that school, if you didn't know him from what, you know, from when you guys started becoming friends to now, you wouldn't have had this opportunity to see him grow, right? He wouldn't have had the opportunity to see you grow. So I think this really gets into our topic tonight when it comes to what our biggest regret is. As I mentioned, I would have regretted not being able to have him on, even though chances are I probably wouldn't have known that he existed if I didn't get the opportunity to meet you. We'll see. But it's just funny how fate works, man. Um, and I just want to dive right into it, you know. I would say, you know, looking back on my past, and this was an episode that I really had to think about throughout the entire week, because I really wanted to try to encompass everything that is going on in my life up until this point. And the one thing that I think brings it all together in terms of the biggest regret that I could say that I've had to date was not following my intuition. I think that not doing that initially really hampered what I believe could have been. Now, of course, later on in the episode, we're going to talk about having moved past that. We're going to talk about gratitude and all that stuff. But from this perspective, I know some of us out there, sometimes we live in regret, right? Sometimes regret comes to us, the idea of missing out, the idea of maybe wanting to try something else, or maybe you should have done something else. Of course, hindsight is 2020, and that sometimes is something I personally deal with. On the hindsight side, being what it is now, you know, there were certain times early in my life, specifically in college, and even a little bit before then, when I could have taken a better route. Will, so you know how I am with sports. You know, I love sports. I love fitness. I love exercise. I love everything about that. So back when I was much younger, one of my biggest dreams in my life was to make it into the NFL, was to play football, right? It didn't matter what position. Hell, I could have been a water boy. I could have been a ball boy. I could have been running out on the field, picking up the tee after they kicked off. I didn't care. I just wanted to be involved in the sport that I loved. So from a high school level, That's when I got into play organized football. But I must take a step back because that's not where the football story begins. In fact, it started when I was in middle school. Um, I was really young. I knew nothing about football. I only played football. For those who understand soccer, I that's where I was. You know what I'm saying? But I was a big kid. I've always been a big kid. So me being as big as I was playing soccer was pretty incredible to see. It was kind of funny sometimes, but honestly, it was really incredible to see because I was able to use my quickness, and somehow that quickness translated into football. Even though I had this size, I was still able to move like somebody who was much smaller. So I used that to my advantage. But what I did not understand is my strength. And it took me two guys in my life, and I'll shout them out here. They were the ones that were able to show me the strength that I had in football when I was a kid. And it would be Zachary Michael, you know Zach, and then Sean Brown. I don't think you know Sean, but I have to credit those two to get me into the sport of football. They showed me the ropes, they toughened me up, they kicked my ass initially, and then I got it back for it, of course. But it started back then when that dream of mine, that dream as a kid, I had when I was dreaming big, and I did want to make it to the NFL. I wanted to play professional football. When I got to high school, I was able to play football. That was the first time I played organized football. I was good enough, and by the grace of God, I didn't get injured. There was an opening on varsity during my sophomore year. So I only played 1 year on JV. That was my freshman year. The next year, I was blessed enough to go to varsity. I started on the line, and I wasn't that big. I wasn't a big lineman, but again, I had the size. I also had the foot quickness. So I was able to do things that other kids at that age at that school weren't able to do. So I fit right into that. Junior year, same thing, played football, started again, was doing really great. My senior year, led the team in tackles, led the team in fumble recoveries. Again, started both ways. I actually, there was one game at Einstein High School. I just got to put this out there. I played I played punt return, kickoff return, offense and defense. So I never left the field. And I always like telling that story because it just shows how much I love football. And up until that point, I had not regret anything that I had done because I was following my own intuition. I was following what I believed was something that I not only had interest in, but I was pretty good at. And I felt that it could have led me somewhere. So it wasn't until I got to college where I think things started making a bit of a turn. And I had to make a decision that I think has changed my life. I I can't really say for the better or for the worse because it always depends on how you look at life. It always depends on your perspective. But I would say that things turned out much differently than I thought they would have. Um, Once I graduated college, my professional, if you would call that career in football, ended. Right, that's where it stopped, and it was at that point where I came to a crossroads at that time. There was an opportunity when I was in college where I could have transferred to another school and I could have tried out for the team. Who knows what could have happened? I could have started, I could have gotten cut, I couldn't have made the team, but that didn't matter at the time, right? Looking back on it, I should have followed my gut. I should have gone with my intuition at that time and made that leap because even if it wouldn't have turned out the way that I thought it would have, I would not have regretted the opportunity that I took. There are times we'll see, and it's difficult sometimes to talk about, that I sit and I think about that moment. I think about that sophomore year. I think about the time when I was in class and I went to my dorm room and I had that decision to either stay at the school I was, to finish out my degree, because it was not offered at the other school that I wanted to transfer over to. And I chose that route because looking back on it now, I think it was the safer route. I think it was the route of surety. I think it was the route that nine times out of 10, it would have led somewhere because I think I probably had less than a 1 out of 10 chance to make a team in college. But I look back on that day even now, I mean, I graduated back in 2014 from college, so it's been a few years. But I tend to look back at that day now, and I sit and I wonder what would have happened, what would have transpired, how drastically would my life have changed. And I would say we'll see that that is my big regret. It was not following my intuition when I was much younger than I am now. And of course, as broad as that is, it goes to many other things as well, not just the football side of things or the college side of things, but also the entrepreneurship side of things. As you know, we've been in this for years. We've been working it. That is probably the best way I can describe it. We have been working the work, and it has been a trying experience. And when it came to Achromous, out of Apex Elevated, out of VidiChat, out of any other venture that we've been into, I feel the most positive about Achromous. It's not, and this is not a plug, guys. This is not a plug for you for those in the community. This is real spill. This this has given me life again because over these past few years, I felt so lost because I was living in such regret that I felt as though I let an opportunity pass and it was gone forever. And I felt like I wouldn't have that drive again. I wouldn't have that want to, that interest. I mean, with my day job, quite frankly, sometimes I struggle to find that because I don't get that burning sensation in my stomach. I don't get those goosebumps on my arms when I'm at work, but I get it when I'm doing anything related to Chromos, whether I'm in the gym now and I'm recording myself working out, which is also something that I'm glad I do not regret because it is starting to help me be a lot more confident in my exercises, be a lot more confident in myself. And I'm glad I'm able to do that. I'm glad I'm able to sit at this table every single Sunday with this mic in front of my mouth, being able to speak to the community, being able to join forces with you, my business partner, my brother, my friend, my mentor, and to be able to do this on a weekly basis. It gets me going, man. It gives me life. It gives me absolute life. And I feel as though if we were to turn the lights off on this podcast, if we were to turn the lights off on Achromous in general, I would then meet my next biggest regret. So as it all comes full circle, everything happens for a reason. I don't know what would have happened if I were to go that route of trying to play professional football. I don't know where my mind would have been. I don't know where our friendship or our companionship, our brotherhood, our partnership would have been. I don't know where my wife would have been. I don't know where this house would have been. I don't know where my health would have been. I don't know any of that. All of those unknowns I would not know. Would life be different? Absolutely. No doubt it would be, right? But life is the way it should be. I am where I'm supposed to be. Because if I was supposed to be there, I would have been. And it took me years, Will C, to get to that point where I could be able to close that door and know that I left nothing in there behind that would have kept me there. I've taken all of my belongings and I've moved it with myself into something that I know comes naturally. The ability to talk into this microphone, the ability to still work out, to still help out others, to grow a community. People always say God will pull you towards things that he knows that you should be doing. He will never lead you astray. He will lead you to exactly where you need to be. I am firmly planted where I need to be right now, Will C. So that biggest regret that I had is nothing but a memory. And I hope for those out there who have been able to hear this story from myself can get that. Those who are around my age, where you're 31, 35, 40, it's never too late to find exactly what you're on this earth to do. It's never too late to understand what your purpose is. It'll never be too late. It's only late when you stop, when you end it, when you're done, when you quit, when you turn the lights off, on your purpose, that's when it's too late for you. But right now, you can turn your life around immediately. You just have to focus. You have to understand what your purpose is. You have to choose. You have to understand that you are not here to live in regret. Whatever has happened in the past has happened. Even if you wanted to go back and change it, it won't be the same because it happened the way it happened because it was supposed to happen that way. We'll see. I've been able to come around full circle and understand that my biggest regret has turned into my biggest blessing.
You know, I my takeaway from that is you've made peace with this, and welcome. Because I look at it for myself at this point is I don't have a regret. As you stated, you put beautifully. Life is what it's supposed to be, and I am a true believer through experiences that I've had to endure and go throughout life that it all connects. And a bigger part of it is the thought process of like being mindful of what you pray for, what you ask for, because a lot of the times we receive what we asked for, just maybe not in the way that we thought we'd get it.
Right.
And when you take a moment to reflect and look back on it, you kind of, if you're willing to be honest and open with yourself, you will see that that's kind of the case. Realistically, of course, I'm not saying if you pray for $1 million that you got it, but let's play devil's advocate with that. You go a whole lifetime. Let's say you go a whole lifetime, depending on what sort of career you're into, you could have maybe accumulated that amount of money, you know, in that time frame. So you got it, just maybe not how you thought, and it was based on your actions of how you went about it in the moment, right? So again, we are always in that moment, our now, right? So you take and reflect on your history, and you have to get to a place of acceptance. That's what I had to do. I had to get to a point, and this is the thing that I hope you don't have happen to you, but I lived my life a certain kind of way under the fear of feeling like I'm not enough, and to put a shell up for everyone else what I thought they needed me to be at all times, to the point that I just stopped living. I was existing. And I got to a point where I had accepted life as autopilot, right? And it was just dull. And then I was faced with events that I had no choice but to turn around and face the music. I had to. If I didn't do it, then that would just kind of been the end of it. Like, I don't know where I'd be today. You know, we all get into the moments that we focus on the things a lot of times that we can't control, rather than just center ourselves, make sure we're grounded so that we can learn from what we're going through. Like, sometimes the best thing to do is to experience what you feel. And that's where I'm at now, is to experience what I feel. And that's all I've been trying to do, is just embrace that part of myself, embrace what that feels like, and just, you know, keep that thought process, and just forgive myself, because I didn't know what I don't know. So you got to tell yourself in the moment that, like, as you're going through these events, it's okay, because what you're going through was intended for you to go through, because no one can go through it and handle it like you could. And I think sometimes we compare expectations based on what we see from others. And that's not really for us to do, right? That because we all have our own journey, but we are all connected in different ways. So like with us, like right now, we're connected. But look at the history of like what all has transpired. And look, guys, we can't go into all that so much, but like this is a brotherhood that took a very long time with life events to get to a level of a bond where events had to happen the way it happened. And I couldn't be as I am today without, you know, Jay and his input and, you know, affecting my life directly in a lot of ways. But if you allow yourself to get so caught up and fixated on what you couldn't control, you wouldn't see the joy in the journey. And that's what matters. You gotta take a moment to stop, reflect, and give yourself the love you need, because for a long time, I just wasn't loving me. I didn't know what that felt like. I didn't think, more importantly, that I deserved it. For so long, I always felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like it was something that I didn't do that was right. And I beat myself up. And if I'm being quite honest, since this is what we're doing
Yep.
to place forward, I feel like I really did deserve it. I felt like anything that I did that was right, I wasn't worthy of it. Anything somebody would get to do for me, I'm like, I don't need that. I don't want that, in that way all the time. But that had more to do with me. Even with, like, people will tell you, you're so smart, you're so this, you're so that. I'm like, nah, I didn't believe it. I didn't. I couldn't believe what they said because I didn't believe it in me.
Wow.
But it took for me to face the mirrors around me, to really do a hard look at myself, and to understand that in order for me to grow, I got to feel everything, because I was cut off from my emotions. And I didn't know the importance of that. So now I do. Now I understand, like, even though I'm going through life events, even at this moment, it's got some hardship with life, just like I'm sure you do, Jay, and listeners out there. I'm understanding now that I got to see it through. I got to feel it because I owe it to me, because I don't get a do-over tomorrow, because tomorrow's not promised to me. So I know I have just right now to feel what I can, and my perspective on how I receive what's going on to me is up to me, right? But I ultimately know that if I am destined to get another day at another crack at something, I'm going to plan to be better for it. I'm going to do everything in my power to love me in the process. And let's be real, there are days that you're just not going to feel that. You're just going to feel the worst of the worst. But you prepare yourself, you build yourself with things that you need. I know for myself, I build myself with affirmations to love myself properly, and to be able to give love back, and to set boundaries for myself so that I don't feel like I'm not enough again. So I don't get to a place where I feel regret, because through all of everything, I understand in my life personally, everything has had to play out the way it's played out,
Right.
because there wouldn't be any other different scenarios. And frankly speaking, I wouldn't accept it, because I'm the best version of me I've ever been in my life. So I'm right where I need to be. And I look forward to where I'm going to go. And this is the message I want to hopefully get across, where, again, I've arrived to a place of acceptance where I don't hold myself accountable for what I didn't know, because now I've accepted that I had to learn through the process, and now I can apply it so I don't repeat things that's not for me.
Right.
And I'm still learning it. I'm still not getting it right with certain things. I'm still having difficulties at times where maintaining my balance of, like, boundaries for me without overextending my love, because I'm too kind at times. I'm too soft-hearted with people, that if I care and I love you a certain kind of way, I'm overcompensating, because maybe parts of those, at those moments in those times, I'm going back into a shell of, oh man, I don't want to not feel like I'm not enough. And I've had different moments for different reasons. But when I realize that's happening, even as of late with certain things, I'm like, oh snap, that's a me thing. That's a me thing. There's no one else. That's me. No one's saying this to me. And even if they did, it didn't matter, because it's about what I feel. So I need to check myself, reevaluate myself. Sometimes you gotta make space, and you have to be able to say it out loud to yourself that it's okay to not be okay, but you're gonna work on it until you are okay. So just like you have a cold, or you're not well, your mind, your energy, your emotions, it's the same way. It goes through those moments when you're not your best self, you feel sick, if you will, in a certain kind of way, that you got to mend that for you. You got to mend those pains, those regrets. You got to mend what those represent to you, and you've got to accept it to get to a point to make peace with it. So I'm at a point in my life where there's just certain events that are reoccurring in a certain kind of way, that I am in a place where I have to grow with it. And sometimes those are not the easiest things to do. But as long as I'm able to maintain myself, not forget me through the process, I know that I'm going to continue to grow and learn with it. And ultimately, again, accept things for where they are, but know that how I perceive it and the decisions I make will lead to the impact of like my direction of where I tend to go.
Mm.
So you have to be intentional about this process of loving yourself and forgiving yourself. And Jay, I'm really happy that you're able to express that. I think it was big, and I hope you feel the relief, because I felt like a weight for you being able to be on center stage. Look, for those as longtime viewers and listeners, I've been there plenty of times. And it's so awesome to hear Jay where he's at with it, because it took a long time for me to even be aware, to be in tune enough with myself to recognize those things. And it's even harder once you're awakened and you see that, you know it about yourself, because it's the ugly truth. Because you can hide behind anyone else, you can put on those smiles, but when you're by yourself, you're in your thoughts, you're in the mirror, you're in the room of mirrors, and you got to reflect and you got to address them. And again, I just say the best thing to do is to make peace with yourself. Make peace. However you need to, make that peace for you, because no one else can do it for you.
That is absolutely well said. We'll see. Um, over the past few years, I've been able to make peace with myself. I've been able to sit down with myself and understand that life is what it is. And I think that's truly the beauty of life. Its unpredictable nature allows somebody like me to travel through this plane of existence, not necessarily knowing what tomorrow would bring. And that in of itself is exciting, because I get yet another opportunity. I get another day to make the most of it, to do whatever I can possibly do to get closer towards my purpose.
Yeah.
And I've never felt more alive. Um, it's, for those out there who are struggling, because I know this is something that a lot of people do struggle with. Um, just understand that it is not something that you can live in. You must live outside of it. Once you do get into that room full of mirrors and you fully understand who you are, you come to grips with the true you. It is painful sometimes, because it is sometimes very, very difficult to let go of what could have been, what may have been. But we don't have that opportunity anymore. So we must move forward. We must grow stronger. We must be better for ourselves the next day, because the day in the past, it's in the past. We can't go back to it. We can only move forward. So prepare yourself for the future. Things that you can't see, the things that you wouldn't be able to feel because we're not there yet. Prepare yourself today for tomorrow, and understand that your biggest regret in the past can end up being your biggest blessing in the future.
Yeah. I think that's uh the best way we could put it, because it was meant to be put this way. So I'd say to everyone out there, just take a moment to reflect. I know it's a lot of heavy. This episode's heavy. It's a lot
Yeah.
of things that were said. I'm sure it's relatable at some point in your life, or even right now. Just take the moment to just stop, breathe, and just appreciate yourself. Appreciate your now, because whatever that looks like is still an opportunity for something better. That's the beautiful part about life, is just being in now, because if you knew you lived forever, how would you approach it? But the fact that it is a constant unknown, it makes me more appreciative now of the time I have remaining, whatever that is. Because now I'm aware of that. I choose to embrace it however I see fit, because it's my legacy. Listen, I'll take it a step further for you, where and Jay, we had to talk about this, where Amira, my daughter, your goddaughter, she, knew, she knows that we are, we have a podcast, we have businesses that we're into, and she was happened to go on YouTube, and she wanted to like check it out, and in that moment, I realized that everything had to happen in life the way it needed to, because no, I may not have all the wealth of finances in the world to offer my kid. Um, I may not, who knows if I have anything materialistic to leave behind for them. But what I am providing right now through my life experiences is something that they'll be able to go back on when they're ready to receive it and to look back on. And to me, that's worth more than anything I can ever give them. because I'm giving parts of me. I'm giving parts of what I have inside that is usually wrapped in one's mind. And I'm sharing that part to be vulnerable with the world like you are, Jay. And that's something I didn't have growing up, even now, with my parents or anyone else that mattered to me to that degree. And this is the gift that I'm able to give. This is the part of the legacy we leave behind. So how could I regret it?
Mm.
It'd be a disservice to myself. It'd be a disservice to them. It'd be a disservice to the future generations to come, God willingly. So what's happening right now is what it needs to be. And I'm okay with it. And that's why I have my peace. Because I know that in that moment, it solidified that, yeah, you need to go through whatever you've been through. And you will continue to. But this, as much as we do this and Achromous and what it means is bigger than it's just a business or anything that you could think of it to be, because this was life changing. Because the moment that we really put this into fruition was legitimately one of the hellacious parts of my life personally, where I was not my best self in a way that I had to discover myself and learn who I am by speaking my truths. And I'm better for it. You're better for you, Jay, for being able to speak your truths. And
Absolutely.
we've different folks give us testimonials and reach out to us directly. I've had people reach out and said, hey, I've been watching you, been watching what you guys are doing. Just want to say thank you for being a voice for a group that is voiceless at times or feel like they can't be that. I've had people tell me, even through your hardships or what I heard in your story, it made a difference in my life because I was going through something similar. And I feel like you helped save my life by just speaking your truth and just seeing how you are. You've helped me accept that part, that it's okay to not be okay in the moment, but you still learn yourself so that you can get to a place where you're good. And to me, that is the most rewarding thing I can ever have expected, because we didn't go into this knowing what it would be. We just had a vision for something better and for people to be better. But most importantly, we've learned that we can grow in this process too. So I just want to thank anyone that took time to even listen up to this point. I know Jay wants to thank you. We appreciate you for being here. We appreciate you for choosing you and choosing us to invest. Yeah, if anything you take away from this is that vulnerability is what's given at all times, and that's what's required in life. So if you're able to take a moment to reflect for yourself, hopefully you get to that point where you accept where you are in life. Mm. And once you realize that, the next step is up to you.
Perfectly so, we'll see. And in your moment of reflection, what we want you to do is this. We want you to be in that state of vulnerability. We want you to pick up your phone, open your laptop, turn on your desktop computer, wherever you're seeing this or watching this or taking this in. We want you to type this out because we want to hear from you. This is a community building company. This is what we do. This is what we do on this podcast. This is what we do on the fitness side. We're all in this together. So with that being said, we want to hear from you. What is your biggest regret? How were you able to get past that regret? Where you are now? The best story that we are able to hear will be featured on the next episode of the Achromous podcast. You will get a special shout out from both Will C and myself, because this is a special community. And as we continue to grow, it is important that we share the stories of those who have impacted our lives in order for them to impact the lives of others. And I must say, Will C, I know you feel the same way, but we are in a very privileged position to be able to do this, man.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like anything, a lot of the times you just, you see what's on the surface, but it does take a lot of sacrifice that goes into these weekly episodic, commitments that we provide to you. And, but we understand that as much as we're giving it for you, it's for us too. Because we've grown so much with you, with each other, with being symbolic to what Achromous represents, and even still learning as it's developing, because it's still maturing. But what we do know is that it's all about the empowerment and betterment of you, the person, the individual, self-development. So if you seek to be better and do better, this is the place to be.
Absolutely. And this is the place to be every single Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Whether you were listening or you're watching, you've come to the right place. You did not arrive here by accident. You were supposed to be here. And if this is your very first time being here, we want to thank you. We want to take this time to thank you for joining us, for being a part of this. This is a journey. It is a lifelong journey. And the beauty of life is that it's unpredictable. You don't know what's coming, but make sure you have fun while it's here, because you don't know when your last time will be. For those who are here again, number one, God bless you for coming back. And you are still here. You are still breathing air, which means that you still have a purpose. I want you to do something with that purpose. But as you're going through your journey, allow Achromous to be that foundation to help you grow. I will take it easy on you once again, because this episode was really heavy. So I will let you off easily. And I will also help you with what we are, who we are, and what we stand for, in case you didn't know. Achromous. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are even on Snapchat. We are literally everywhere you can hear a podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, whether that's Google Podcasts, whether that's Spotify. And if you're watching our beautiful faces and you did not get to hear this at the very beginning of this video, I need you to do something for both of us, for our entire community to continue to grow. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to hit that subscribe button. And I need you to hit that notification bell. The reason why you're hitting the notification bell is this: the next time you are on this platform and you're scrolling down that feed for a new video that can help you get through the day because you are just having a rough go at it for that day, the Achromous podcast will be your solution to help you. And I can't even believe I'm saying this again, but most of all,
it's free to do so.
Unbelievable.
If you're just tuning in, rewind this back a little bit if you accidentally skipped. But in the beginning, I told you it then, we're telling you it again now. And I'll repeat it one more time. It's free to do so because you're so damn worth it. So if you don't know that by now, we have 75 reasons of being told this.
Unbelievable.
This episode hopefully brings it home. I hope so, Jay. So please be sure to do those things, guys. We want to see those likes. We want to. It solidifies to us that what we're giving to you is reaching you. We have reached out a lot individually, and we were DM'd about questions and things like that, and we welcome it. No problem. And this is a growing community, and we want to make sure that we're extending our outreach to those who are in the shadow, and they're looking to find their way for just something that's meaningful, something impactful, something that really makes a difference, and that's pure and intentional. And here we are. We're their voice, and we plan to continue to be that voice and to help us to be vulnerable, to share our experiences and continue to bring on guests to share their experiences of life, because you realize that we aren't really all so different. So you're better in numbers.
Absolutely.
So please subscribe, be part of the community.
Please do. I mean, we would love to have you in. We'd love to hear back from you guys. We'd love the feedback. Keep it coming. We're going to keep growing. And I know this episode was a pretty heavy episode, so we thank you for being with us and watching this through its entirety. Next week will be a little bit lighter. You can get the smile on the faces now, guys, because we're going in a different direction. So it's been a while since I've been able to like truly have a belly laugh, man, to really sit back and just kind of let go of that tension. And I think it's needed in our society today desperately.
Yeah.
So next week on the 76th episode, the Achromous podcast, we will have on comedian Keith Corey, who'll be able to tell us his story, be able to maybe crack a few jokes with us as well. And we'll see what's going down with Keith at this time, man. So we're excited to have him on. We're excited to get a comedian on. I know our community needs some laughs. Our society needs some laughs. So we're looking forward to next week as well, man.
Oh yeah, Keith is an amazing person, and yeah, we can't wait to have you on to just showcase to the world the joy that you have to offer, and in the form of laughter. So I'm really looking forward to it. You guys can get some gems and a lot of laughs. So please be sure to tune in, and can't wait to see you, man.
Yeah,
Can't wait to catch.
cannot wait. Look, it's gonna be a great week for you guys out there. Remember to not live in regret. Keep growing, keep pushing. And next Sunday, we'll see you again, man. Don't miss our faces too much. You wouldn't have to because you're going to be seeing us throughout the week. So you just stay tuned. Keep growing with the Achromous Fitness. Keep growing with the Achromous podcast. We'll keep growing with you. Until next Sunday, it's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And I'm Will C.
Peace.